A few weeks ago, I did a video about the importance of self-defense training. The feedback I got from a lot of you guys was that you would like to get some training, but it just costs too much. And I totally understand that. A typical self-defense class is a few $100 plus ammo plus traveling expenses if the class is out of town. And I know not everybody can afford that, even if it's just once every few years. But I don't think that a lack of disposable income should disqualify you from being able to be better prepared to use your gun as a life-saving tool. So today I'm going to talk about a couple of ways to approach training even if you don't have a ton of extra cash laying around. But first, I want to make an important distinction. There is a big difference between not training because you truly can't afford it and not training because you don't think it's worth the money. If you're in the latter camp, I don't know if there's much I can say to convince you otherwise. I don't think most instructors are getting rich off of teaching classes. I think the prices that most of them are asking are fair, but a lot of people look at that price tag and they think, well, hey, I could buy another gun for what it costs to go take a training class. And I understand that temptation, but I promise, getting some quality training is going to be far more valuable and rewarding in the long run, and it's definitely going to make you better prepared than just adding another gun to your collection. Even if you're shooting primarily as a hobby, shooting is a lot more fun when you're good at it. So when someone tells me that they've got a handful of pistols but they've never had any training, that usually means they can afford training, they just would rather have more toys to put in the safe. Now, if going to a good shooting class is really financially out of reach for you, there are some alternatives. One of the best is to get some private lessons. There's still a cost involved with that, but it's going to be a lot less than taking like a 1 or 2 day shooting class. An hour or two with a qualified instructor might cost you around $100, and you'll probably go through about 100 rounds of ammo. But having all that individual attention can take you a long way. If you supplement that with some good reading material and dry practice, you can probably get the majority of the benefit of a 1 or 2 day shooting class. Speaking of dry practice, that is another low-cost way to work on your shooting skills. Now, it doesn't actually do much good if you don't already have some kind of baseline training so you can learn how to do everything correctly, but once you have a grasp of the fundamentals, dry practice can help you get the mechanics of shooting and gun handling kind of programmed into your brain's subconscious. Justin Carroll recently wrote a couple of really good articles about how to dry practice effectively. We have those posted on our blog, so be sure to check that out if you want to know more about how to dry practice. Shooting is an important component of self-defense, but there's really a lot more you need to know than just how to pull a trigger. Understanding criminal behavior and how to use observation and awareness to your advantage are just as important. There are also legal aspects of self-defense that you need to be aware of and plenty of other topics. Outside of training with someone in person, the best single low-cost resource that I've found that covers most of this stuff is the book Fighting Smarter, A Practical Guide for Surviving Violent Confrontation by Tom Givens. It's a really excellent, comprehensive overview of just about everything the average person needs to know on the topic of self-defense. If you're interested in expanding that knowledge on an ongoing basis for free, there are lots of other books and videos and resources available. But for today, I just want to mention a couple of my favorite podcasts. There's Ballistic Radio, hosted by John Johnston, which you can download or listen to live on Sunday nights. And there's also The American Warrior Show with Mike Seeklander. These shows both feature interviews with guests from the self-defense training industry, and the full archives of both of them are available to download completely for free. John and Mike both do an excellent job of tracking down some of the most knowledgeable experts in the world on topics that are relevant to shooting and self-defense. I highly recommend both of them. There's really no true substitute for learning how to use your firearm defensively in person from a qualified instructor, but if you can't do that, there are more options and resources available today than there have ever been before. There's also more bad information out there than ever, so be picky about who you listen to, but there's no reason you can't be reasonably well prepared to defend yourself without going broke.